Hello, hello, and happy Monday. I'm coming to you again today to talk about bereavement, and I guess part two. The reason why I'm talking about bereavement a lot is because I am a life coach, and that is one of my specialties. I specialize in domestic violence, bereavement, empty nesters, and singles, men or women. So today, since we're coming up upon the holidays, usually this is a time where we are sad because we're missing our loved ones. And trust and believe, I too am one of those ones that was always had a hard time during the holidays because some of y'all know me and my sister Jean, we used to have a Christmas tree contest every year. If you watch my other video, I talked about that. Well, today I'm coming, well, maybe a little serious topic, and that's trying to get through this time. um, Bereavement comes in different forms. You could you could get angry, be angry at the person that passed away. You could feel guilty because maybe you didn't do enough for that person. You can just be physically sick, mentally, just struggling because of the loss of your loved one. And all that is actually normal because that's grief is just a loss of something. Even if you're going through a divorce, that is just like a loss. So you could be grieving that also. But I have a few things that I wanted to talk about today. And with that being said, going through the process, always remember no matter what you're going through, God is faithful. Even if you don't believe in Christ, just know that you made it this far and to me, is by the grace of God. God is faithful. His word says that He'll never leave you nor forsake you. And then also, I want you to think about how God felt when they crucified his son Jesus. So that was a loss also. So keep in mind, you are not alone. That's another point I want you to know. You're not alone. God is faithful. He'll never leave you, and that you are not alone. And then also, share your grief with someone. Please make sure it's someone that is understanding, that has gone through a loss themselves. You can't share this type of grief or this type of pain with someone that's never been through anything because they won't have your best interests at heart. The first thing they're going to tell you is, why are you still crying? Why are you not over this by now? Certain things take time. And that's another point. Take your time. You don't have to grieve and then like a week or a month or 2 months, a year, be okay. Some grief takes time, and make sure the person that you're speaking with understands that. Okay, so this is not something that you can get over right away. Now, the video I did the other day about my sister, it took me years before I could literally talk about her and not cry. So again, find somebody that has been or suffered the loss that you've lost. Everybody's loss is different. I've never, I can't comfort someone that has lost a son, because I have a son and my son is still alive. So what I would say to you, I can't sympathize with you, but I understand a loss. So don't think that, I can't help you. I can help you, your mom, your best friend, your dad, a coworker. I can sympathize with all of that. So please know that I'm here to help. If if you have another trusted friend, please reach out to that person. Um, Another point I want to bring out: cry or laugh as often as you need to. I say laugh because you might remember a lot of the good times that you all shared. And then you could think about it when you least expect it and just fall out laughing. Or it might hit you another way. You might just wake up crying. You could have had a dream about that person and it seems so real that you just wake up crying and wishing and longing for that person to be in your life. And also another type of loss, even though I said marriage, it could be a breakup of a relationship. That's a loss in itself, and that's very hurtful also. So if you spent time with someone, any type of loss is a loss, and it hurts. So I'm not going to minimize it by no means. A loss is a loss, and they all hurt, mainly when you love that person. If you didn't have any feelings for them, you could care less, and you will, could just move on and with no issues. But but cry as often as you need to get it out. Crying is a cleansing. It also it really makes you feel better. Sometimes I have a good cry and I don't even have a main topic that I'm crying for. I just feel the need to cry. And when I do, I promise you, I feel a whole lot better. I haven't done it lately, but that's one of my exercises that I do. Another exercise, you can do some deep breathing when you're feeling, emotional, or you're feeling some a sort of I'm not sure how you could be feeling. Just take a couple of deep breaths, and once you do that, that calms your mind, it calms your body, it calms your spirit, and then you can concentrate or think a little bit better, and then you can go through your day. So sometimes I take deep breaths early in the morning when I first wake up, just before I start work, whatever. I just lay there for a second. I don't even think about my day. I just think about, I just say, Lord, thank you for waking me because He didn't have to wake me. So that's like my first thought. And then I just, breathe in, breathe out, and just get ready to start your day, to tackle whatever is going to come your way, because we don't know what's going to happen once we wake up. Um, if you're in the same city as your loved one, visit the cemetery. It's okay to go visit. Even though there's a scripture that says, absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. If they were a Christian, we know that they're with God. But sometimes just going to the cemetery. Now, early on when my mom first passed, I used to visit the cemetery a lot. I would just sit there and cry. Um, and it did always make me feel better. But now, I actually have a picture of my mom's grave. Well, she's in a mausoleum, so I have a picture of the mausoleum. So whenever I miss her, I just open up my phone and pull up the picture of my mom's burial plaque, and just like, hey mom, I miss you. And it's another year, and mama would have been 97, and whatever. But so visit the cemetery if you need to. That's also a healing mechanism. You can also think about I think this is like one of my best advice that I had given to someone. What is the best advice your loved one that you're grieving for gave you? Think on the advice that they gave you. Think about the subject that you guys were talking about, the reason why you called that person, and just let them know thank you. Thank them for that advice because it really helped. Um, so that's another thing that will bring you closer to that person. And I'm gonna say bring closure, but it will definitely help you with that person, the grieving the loss of that person. You can also think about the time where you did something to that person. And you know what you might need to do is apologize to them. So it's not always, them, it's two-sided. So I'm quite sure you might have done something to them, not intentional. Then again, it could have been intentional. And then you never got a chance to apologize to them. So think about that. Think about the way you hurt them and apologize. And that also is healing, because sometimes grief is in a form of guilt. You didn't get to do or say something to that loved one. So think about that. Think about where you might have stole a quarter from them. Okay, so that was me. I did that to my mom one time. But but think about something that you did to that person. And you think they might not have known, but they probably did know. Like my mama knew I took that quarter. I did admit to her. I ended up giving her like hundreds of dollars later. So anyway, so I made up for it. But so think about what you've done to that person. and talk it out to that person. You know they're not there. You can get a chair, do an exercise, maybe sit a picture of that person in a chair and just have a conversation. I did that with my dad. Years ago. My dad wasn't in my life, but always wanted to know why did he leave my mom, and I had lots of questions for him. So I did have a picture of my father, and I sat a chair in front of me, just like we're sitting in front of this camera. I actually act like my dad was there, and I said a lot of things to him. I I had so many questions, and I actually had wrote them down, so that way I wouldn't forget anything. Sometimes I cried and couldn't get the questions out, and it took me a couple of days to get through that particular exercise, because, like I said, I had a lot of questions for my dad, and no, I didn't hear his answers, but you know whose answer I did hear. I heard God speak through me, and I didn't realize it was things that my dad was going through that we never knew. So I had to give my dad some grace. In the same way with your loved one, you might need to give them some grace. You might want to talk about how your loved one, like one of the funniest times that you guys had together. You might want to talk about the things you never got to do with that person. I actually had a conference last Saturday, and I had a guy that he wasn't a client, but he ended up being one because he started talking to me about his son. His son had passed away, and he was just saying how, some things that he wished that he would have done. And I told him, I said, well, since it's football season, why don't you get a picture of your son, sit it right in front of the TV with you, right beside you, and it's just like your son is watching the game with you. They never had a chance to have watch a football game together. And I said, well, do that and do what make you happy with that person, because um, that is it's a healing process. And he said he never thought of that, but and he gave me the biggest hug, and I gave him some other advice too. And he said one of the things that he did say to me, which it just melted my heart. He said that he went to counseling. He said, but his counselors never suggested anything like that. So I'm like, yay! I felt good that I was able to give him some different advice, going forward with his grief process of losing his son. That was their only child, and it was his only son. So, like I said, I told him I couldn't imagine what it feels like. I have one son too. So, but I just gave him the advice that I would give to anybody. The advice was given to me, um, and just things that I've learned over the years walking through this grief process. And then if it's one of your parents, thank them for giving you life, because they didn't have to bring you into the world. Um, so think about that. Think about the fact that they gave you life, and sometimes we take our life for granted, but we have to thank them for that. I thanked my dad and I thanked my mom because they could have had an abortion and I wouldn't be talking to you guys today. So, those are just some tidbits that I had that I wanted to share with you. So, no matter what you're going through, don't expect people to understand you. Make sure that you speak with someone that has suffered a loss and that they can feel what you feel. Be mindful of who you tell your grief story to, because like I said, everybody, one, don't want to hear it, or they don't have time to hear it, or they're impatient with you. So sometimes you have to grieve by yourself, and that's okay too. But just know that me as a life coach, I'm here for you. If you go to my website, which is www Tracy Jefferson, sufferinginsilence.com. I have some life coaching packages. Please, whatever you do, do not worry about the prices. Everything's negotiable. I just want you to be healed from the inside out. It's not about the money, it's about helping someone to be healed. Okay, so that's my 2 cents for today. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Please leave me a comment and a like. All right. Have a great day.